and welcome to ZTN. I'm Itai Mutineri. We are in October, and as you know, it is the month of breast cancer. So in the studio, we have invited a breast cancer fighter. Her name is Sihlesenkosi Mkondo. Sihle, welcome to ZTN.
Thank you. Good morning, Itai. It's a special one for me. It's my first time post-diagnosis, post-operation.
It's such a pleasure to have you today. But before we get into this, just to know who Sihlesenkosi is, tell us about yourself.
I'm a 50-year-old mother of three. I'm an ex-banker. I've worked in the finance industry as well. I've worked in broadcast. I've also worked with the NGOs, and I've also done a lot of voluntary work. Yeah, I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian.
Yes.
Now, take us through the journey of finding out, of being diagnosed with breast cancer. When did you find out, and how did you react? It must have been devastating.
I was one of those. Absolute disbelief. For about 5 years, I decided I was going to support the breast cancer cause. And I liked the pink ribbon.
Yes, the pink
so
ribbon.
I'd go and get screened, and everything was fine. 2016, I actually had 2 screenings. Everything was fine. So for me, when I felt the lump, I didn't think much about it. I didn't do anything. I waited for October Breast Cancer Month to go to Cancer Association and get my screening as usual. But it was to be different in 2017. Everything went so fast. I had this nurse saying, "But you know you have a lump." And I said, "Yes, I do. I know I have a lump." And she said, "Well, we need an ultrasound done." So they sent me off to a radiologist, and the radiologist also didn't take it well. It was someone I know. And they sent me off to a surgeon. The surgeon didn't take it well and decided I would not leave his surgery until he had done a biopsy because the lump was just too big.
And take us through the emotion of, you know, just finding out. It's one thing to know about cancer, and it's another to be told you have cancer. And the emotions and not understanding the terminology and what is going on.
That was a tough one. For me, initially I was in denial because there's no cancer in my family, both sides of the family.
And besides, you're saying you had been screened before.
I'd been screened about 8 months prior to that, so I didn't think I had a problem. So for it to sink in, I had the doctors sitting and say, "Do you understand what it means?" And I'm like, "It's breast cancer. I've had people die, people survive." I took it very lightly for a long time. I had not researched deep enough to understand what it all meant. I would only get to it once the treatment started. So knowing that I was going to lose an organ, that was a tough one. I mean, I'm a 38D cup and I breastfed all my children. Never thought that I would lose an organ. But there I was being told that they're going to cut this off. And post the operation, the hard part is trying to balance. Because when you look yourself in the mirror as a woman, it's different when you have 2 breasts. When you have one, you just feel like I'm one-sided. You never feel like you're walking straight.
Yes.
So that took a bit of time to get used to, and a lot of introspection and saying, do I want to live, do I want to die? Because half the time you think everybody's staring at your chest.
Yeah.
And it's taxing. It's very taxing emotionally. And then when you go to a hospital for treatment, you have some people who are really not taking treatments well. And you're sitting there, am I going to get worse like the person sitting next to me? How about my children? How about my parents? They are old. So all those things, yes, it was taxing more than anything else. Devastating, I don't know. I think maybe I just went through with it. It was just such a flow.
And as a Christian, did you not say, "God, why me?"
As a Christian, initially, I did say, God, why me? My next prayer was, God, if you can trust me with this, you better make sure I come out right. I mean, that is me. You can't just give up.
That is a strong lady right there. And then
Yeah.
your children, how did they take it? How did you tell them?
My children were the toughest call. The youngest one was in grade 7. She's the only one who's a day scholar, living with her grandmother. So I had to bring her in. But unfortunately for me, the news was broken around her, not to her. People discussed how I was in hospital, how I had cancer, how her granddad had died of cancer, her paternal father. And she picked the phone and she texted a relative and said, so is mommy dying? I thought you said she was just in hospital for a small procedure. So by the time I got to see her 2 days later, she was in tears, even though my idea was to convince her that I'm not dead. We have to fight this. I can come out well, I can struggle, but we have to fight it. So when I got to her, she was broken. But I had to, when you are sick, you don't stop being a mom, hey?
Yes.
I then had to be the mom.
You have to be strong.
No tears, no what. You watch her, and when she's gone, you break down. My other tough one was the oldest daughter. She was writing her A-levels. So the biopsy was done just before the last weekend I could see her. And I spent that weekend looking at her and my son, and thinking these kids have no idea what's about to happen. And I couldn't break the news. So when she finished her exams, she expected me to pick her up from school. Only then to be told by the person she'd asked, can you call my mom to pick me up? That mom can't come. And she said, no. What do you mean mom can't come? She says, no, she's in hospital. Then she went ballistic, wanting to know why she wasn't told, what was I suffering from. And for 2 days, she came, she saw me, she was upset. For 2 days, she didn't really want to talk to me. She kept saying, but why didn't you tell me?
Why didn't you tell me?
Why didn't you tell me? So I waited when I was out of hospital and we were sitting at a friend's house. I said to her, I want us to do a role play. If you were me and I was writing my final A-level exams, would you tell me that you had just discovered a life-threatening condition? And she said, but mama, but it's tough. But she said, no, I won't have. And I said, exactly. So I'm sorry we didn't tell you, but this is what's going on. So we need to know what's next. And she didn't even want to visit the doctors. She was like, no, I don't want to be part of this. It was too scary for her.
It must have been very traumatic.
I said, you need to know, you're the older one, you need to know what I'm going through and what needs to be done. Gogo is not always going to be here, my friends aren't always, my sisters aren't always good, but you are my child. You have to be here. So that's how it was. My son, I know boys, they close up. So
yeah, they do. Boys usually close up. Now take us through the treatments that you had to go through. And right now the economic environment is very tough. And I do know that cancer is very expensive to treat. How did you first handle it? How are you handling it right now?
I have no medical aid cover. I have no medical insurance. And I was at a new job. So, first of all, my dad sold his cattle. He sold some cattle. I had sold my car, wanting to buy another car. So initially, that's the money I used for treatments. The chemo I started in December when the wound had healed. So starting chemo was an expense we'd never imagined. And unfortunately for me, I'm pneumonic, which means that every time I get a chemo jab, I need my white cells to be boosted up. So the injections...
That's another expense.
Yes, they're quite costly. These things are nothing less than $100.
For an injection? For
an injection. The chemo itself, it's about 150, 200. And then you still need to get your bloods tested. It can be $25, it can be $80, depending on what the doctors want to see.
And how often are these sessions?
The chemo was initially 4 cycles of a particular type of drug That's the one that makes you lose your hair and all that. It's a tough one. That was 4 cycles every 3 weeks. When that one ended, we started 12-week one every week. The technical terms, there was the ACL, which was the first one. They call it the red dragon because it does take you out for the most part. And then the paclitaxel was the next one that I did for 12 weeks. Tough as well, because you find you have insomnia, you're weak, appetite is a problem. Tiredness was the biggest. Fortunately for me, I didn't have nausea. A lot of people suffer because they also throw up a lot.
And
Yes.
I understand breast cancer has types. Which type do you have? And also stages. Yes, which stage are you at?
Okay, when I was diagnosed, they thought I was stage 1. But the following mammogram showed that I had the report post-operation showed that I was stage 2 because the cancer was not just in the breast, but it was in the lymph nodes. At the end of chemo, I did another test, and the cancer is now also in the bones. So all those things have to be treated. The type of cancer I have is one of the aggressive ones. It is termed for short HER2 positive, and I'm also estrogen positive. So on top of all the other normal chemo treatments and the radiation which I did after chemo, I also still am on medication for a year for the bone cancer and also for the original breast problem.
Now, did you try to seek for funds from the public?
Yes. My family came through for me and my friends. First, we registered a GoFundMe account. It was going a bit slow. We then decided to start having fundraising efforts. So we had a fundraising dinner in Bulawayo, and we had a high tea here in Harare, and I also have followed it up with a Zumbathon here in Harare. But it's not enough. What makes it worse is that the drugs have, doubled, tripled, and now I understand that we have to pay in hard currency. So going forward, I'm not sure how I'm going to receive the rest of my treatment to make the year to next year, May, June.
Because there's thousands of dollars
Yes,
that are required.
it was $2,000 prior to the increases. The last checkup I was told is $2,600, and I need this every 3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks.
For how long?
For
Are
a
you
year.
Okay, for a whole year.
For a whole year. So I've done 7 doses to date, and I was fortunate that I was able to find someone in SA who could purchase for me. So all the money that I had, I purchased 2 doses, so I have my 8th dose. I also have donations probably coming in. Someone has promised to give me another 2 doses. So far, God willing, I'll be on the halfway mark, okay. But because of the difficulty of sourcing the drug.
Yes, I was going to ask about that. How difficult is it to actually source the drug?
It is difficult. I think we have like 1 or 2 suppliers of the drug here in the country. For me, it's been family, it's been friends, and people coming together. So I have a GoFundMe account, which is www.gofundme.com/Sihle's breast cancer treatments.
Are you on social media?
I'm on social media. Sihlesenkosi Mkondo is my Facebook. My Facebook, I'm Sihlesenkosi Mkondo. Also, I am on WhatsApp, and it's the same number that I use for EcoCash for any donations and contributions.
If you could share that number.
It's 0772 400 000. an easy one. We're the original Econet supporters.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward, what would you say to that person that has been diagnosed and feels that's the end of their life? It is the end. You really look like a very strong woman.
Well, thank you. What I would say to someone who's been diagnosed is look around you. A few years ago, we received news that there was HIV and AIDS, and people were dying of it. But the word changed. They say that you live with HIV. With cancer, you fight. So you prepare yourself for a fight. And the best thing that you can do for yourself as a cancer patient is to get treated. Get your treatments. The same doctors who diagnose that you have cancer have a solution for you. So it is best to follow through with their treatment arrangements. And also, you just have to have a doctorate as well. Uncle Google is good at it. So you search as much information as possible about your particular condition, so that besides what the doctors are saying, you are also up to scratch about what you're going through. And there are many groups that you can join so that you understand what others are going through. For me, meeting someone who is a survivor and was diagnosed 28 years ago, she's 81 years old, was mind-blowing.
Wow.
She's full of energy. Mm-hmm. She runs, she walks, and she's a nature lover. So there is life after cancer. There may be some things you may need to alter, like obviously for me it was work. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The way you are weak, you cannot always perform the same way as before. However, in the event that you have to change careers, there's always an option. Think through of your talents. What else can you do? You don't have to wake up in the morning to go to somebody's office to make it. You can always use your other talents and your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Sihlesenkosi Mkondo, our heroine for this month of October, who is fighting breast cancer. Thank you for watching. I'm Itai Mutineri.